History remembers great kings as heroes, builders of empires, defenders of faith, and symbols of glory. But some rulers were so cruel, so feared, and so destructive that later generations tried to wipe their names from memory entirely. This is the story of one such king, a ruler whose reign was soaked in blood, whose shadow terrified even his own people, and whose legacy became too dark for history to proudly record. From the very beginning, this king ruled not with respect, but with fear. He came to power during a time of instability, when the kingdom was already fragile. Instead of healing the land, he exploited its weakness. The crown did not make him wise, it unleashed his worst instincts. He believed mercy was a weakness, and kindness a threat to authority. To him, fear was the strongest weapon a king could wield, and he used it without restraint. A reign built on terror. The king's court was not a place of honor, it was a place of survival. Advisors spoke carefully, knowing one wrong word could cost them their lives. Generals were executed after victories if the king suspected even a hint of disloyalty. Loyal servants disappeared overnight, their families never told where they were taken. Public executions became common, not for justice, but for spectacle. People were punished not only for crimes, but for rumors. A whisper in the market, a joke overheard by the wrong ears, or a glance interpreted as disrespect could lead to torture or death. Entire villages were burned as warnings. The message was clear: obedience or annihilation. Historians later wrote that the people stopped praying for prosperity, they prayed simply to survive. Blood over blood. The king trusted no one, not even his own blood. Brothers were imprisoned, cousins were blinded or executed. Some were forced to watch as their children were killed before them. Royal blood meant nothing when paranoia ruled the throne. He believed every family member was a potential rival, every noble a future traitor. In one of the darkest moments of his reign, the king ordered the massacre of an entire noble house, men, women, and children alike, after receiving an unproven accusation of conspiracy. No trial, no defense, just silence after the screams. This act alone shocked even the most brutal societies of the time. Why history tried to forget him? When the king finally fell, betrayed by those he had terrorized, his death did not bring celebration, it brought relief. But what followed was even more telling. Successors destroyed statues bearing his image, his name was scratched out of official records, chronicles were rewritten to minimize his reign. Some historians referred to him only as the tyrant or the cursed king, refusing to write his true name at all. Why? Because remembering him was painful. His rule represented everything society wanted to forget: unchecked power, absolute cruelty, and the cost of silence. To preserve hope, later generations tried to erase the monster, believing that if his name disappeared, his evil might disappear with it. But history does not forget so easily. The warning he left behind. Today, this king stands as a warning rather than a legend. He reminds us that crowns do not create greatness, power does not guarantee wisdom, and when fear replaces justice, even the strongest throne will eventually collapse. History tried to erase him, but in doing so, it revealed something more important. Cruelty may rule for a time, but it never truly wins. And perhaps that is why his story still haunts us, because it proves that the most dangerous enemy of any kingdom is not an invading army, but a ruler who has lost his humanity.